everybody, and welcome to Binging with Badness, the only podcast that's still mad about the unjust cancelization of American Vandal. Yes, I'm mad, and I will die mad. My name is Mitchell McIntyre.
I'm Vanessa Vogel.
And, we lied. Last night we said we were going to do, the 12 Dates of Christmas, because that was Hallmark's Sunday movie. But we decided, hey, wouldn't it be fun to not do that? And instead we're doing, as you can see, Cranberry Lane, which is a Hallmark movie and mystery movie. And I think your theory from last night holds up, that these are worse.
The second-rate movies?
Yeah. Because this is probably the one that had the least, imprint on me.
Is this the new 5?
I think so.
It's okay.
Again, it's not bad, but it's very, it's like plain oatmeal. It's there.
I mean, it had some funny moments. Grandma is the star of the show, the secret star of these shows.
I think it might have something to do with coming off the...
Nothing.
It might have something to do with coming off the high of One Royal Holiday, which was the best one, and this one most certainly can't hang. But yeah, so it's
It's okay.
we'll obviously we'll get into it more, but this is one of those movies that if I didn't take notes during the film, I don't know how much of it I remember. So we'll get into the and I should say it is November 1st, which means you can stop yelling at me for doing a Christmas podcast in October, cause nah. It is November 1st, which means October is October. But yeah, so we will, we'll get into more of our thoughts when we start talking about the movie. But this one had, I think, the most interesting plot that it just did not connect with. So a separated couple have to feign marital bliss on national television to help their town's Christmas festival and their business. I think that's interesting. It wasn't.
They did a lot of promo for this one, too.
They did. We saw this commercial a lot. And so, I don't know so much. But it stars Benjamin Ayers, who has done some stuff. He was in Suits for a couple of years. He was on a show called Saving Hope, which I believe is another medical show. A show called Burden of Truth. And Blue Ridge Mountain Christmas is his big Christmas movie. And he is Canadian, you know. It also stars, I believe her name is pronounced Nikki DeLoch or DeLouch. I'm gonna go with DeLoch, Nikki DeLoch. She's also been in a couple of things. She was in Love and Other Drugs, which is I think that's a Jake Gyllenhaal, Anne Hathaway movie.
Oh, that's nice.
She was also in The House Bunny, which is not a great movie, but hey. And she was also in Two Turtle Doves, Love Takes Flight, Love to the Rescue, Reunited at Christmas, Truly Madly Sweetly, The Perfect Catch, and A Dream of Christmas. So she's done this a tad. The director is Linda Lisa Hatter. And this is her first ever movie.
Really?
This is the first time she's directed. Outside of a couple of episodes of iZombie.
Oh, were they good? Were they good ones?
I don't know.
Were they early seasons or later seasons?
Didn't catch it. There's just there's 2 of them.
I'm just saying, iZombie lost its collective shit near the end.
But yeah, so she's mostly known for being a script supervisor. Mm-hmm. It is written by a lady by the name of Joey Botkin, and she has done a lot of these movies. My One and Only, Love in the Sun, A Brush with Love, Jingle Around the Clock, Christmas at the Palace, Falling for You, A Song for Christmas, and Miss Christmas. So, we got some Hallmark experience behind this one, but I don't know if was worth it. One of these days I want to go back and see some of these other movies to see if they're any good. Mm-hmm. Maybe this one's just a weak one for her. Mm-hmm. But, yeah. So, not exactly as star-studded as the last one. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, but they can't all be gems.
Why
not? Would be nice, eh?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, the movie begins proper. Curtain up. We start with a conversation between our main character, Dawn, and some lady we don't really know yet. Mm-hmm. And as I was watching this, the dialogue is super, stilted. Mm-hmm. They're just like, well, tell us about this thing you're doing. She's like, well, this thing I'm doing is blah, 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 and over here. And I was like, it sounds like they're talking on, a QVC-style show. Mm-hmm. And then the camera pulls back and they're talking on a QVC-style show. They are on what is the equivalent of Oprah. The host and then our main character. So that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, they don't come out and say it. Her name's Pamela Frank.
Pamela Franks.
And, you have to piece it together. She is a host. She has her own network. She is clearly wealthy as hell.
She talks like Oprah.
She talks like Oprah.
She's Oprah.
Yeah, no, this woman's Oprah.
And I thought that she would just be a one-time character.
Yeah. She's
third ranked. She has more time than the grandparents.
Well, yeah, it's Oprah.
So yeah. I guess the acting's pretty good there. So our main character is Dawn, and she runs a lifestyle blog type of company full of home decor and whatnot called Cranberry Lane. And she runs it with her husband, who is not here right now.
And she immediately starts making excuses about why he's not on the show with her.
Yeah. And I have it written here. The host of the show just kind of talks like that. She's always on camera. Mm. Because, again, she's doing Oprah.
Mm. She's doing a great Oprah impersonation.
Yeah. Gabe is the male lead. Gabe and Dawn have separated. I don't know if it's officially, but they're not together, really. Mm. And Gabe is doing way worse than Dawn is.
He's watching her on the TV shows when he should be working the actual Cranberry part of the farm.
Gabe is... Yeah, so there is Cranberry Lane, the lifestyle blog, and there's Cranberry Lane, the farm. Mm-hmm. This gets confusing.
It does. Because he literally says, she wants that Cranberry Lane, I want this Cranberry Lane. And we're like, you guys need a number in it.
Need a different name. So Gabe is supposed to be a farmer, a cranberry farmer. Mm-hmm. Bullshit. I've seen farmers. No farmer is that attractive.
That's not true.
Name one.
Wayne's marginally attractive. He squints a lot.
Yeah, but he's also an actor.
Okay. Fair enough.
Exactly. He inherited the cranberry farm from his father, who shows up periodically.
And it's just why am I still working this cranberry farm? Yeah. I thought I retired.
So Dawn is basically the public eye of this brand, and Gabe is working the farm and doing that kind of thing.
Talk about heavy lifting.
Yeah, right? Dawn arrives back. Apparently she had been gone for quite a while. Mm-hmm. She arrives back at the farm and then has a moment where she's just and then backs away and she doesn't go in. And she goes to visit her sister with another niece. because everybody in these movies has a sister and a niece.
Yeah.
So she's staying with her sister instead of staying at home. And Dawn asks her sister about a date that she had last night. And the sister is like, oh, I didn't go. And Dawn's like, you promised you wouldn't cancel. And she's like, I put the dress on.
Which seems to be progress from the last few times, apparently.
Yeah.
Canceled.
And then they move on, topic-wise. But I want to hear what happens here.
Why her sister avoiding dating people?
Yeah, we never really find out why. She just doesn't date.
Because it's not her sister's story. It's Dawn's story, right?
Yeah, but then don't mention it at all.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, the little girl, same little girl from Chateau Christmas.
Yeah, the little girl from this movie is the exact same little girl from Chateau Christmas. I have found out that all of these movies were filmed during the pandemic.
What?
Yes. They were filmed, like, in June.
Oh.
So
that little girl had a busy week.
Yeah, a couple of them did.
I wonder if she could keep the movie straight. Like, because you don't film all the scenes in order, right? So
yeah, I guess that has to be a little bit complicated. So they've been separated. Dawn and Gabe have been separated for a while, and Dawn is in full-on, like, avoidance mode. And she's like, oh, I have to go back home to pick up some clothes. Dawn should be at his Gabe should be at his parents'. I should be able to slip in unnoticed and go. So she arrives home, and she doesn't arrive unnoticed. And Gabe is just like, hey, you home? Yes. Congrats on television.
and she has the nerve to critique his decorating of the house and being like, where the mistletoe at?
Yeah.
The house, by the way, is perfectly decorated otherwise. Like, there's garland everywhere, there's a tree, it looks nice, and he's a farmer. Girl, what do you expect?
Mm-hmm. Apparently he didn't hang mistletoe because putting it together was always her job, and it made him sad. They must not be doing too bad because she arrives in the daylight and leaves at night. So, just saying. We're about 12 minutes in, and everything is about pity for Dawn. Like, everybody's just like, it's like, oh, we were so sad to hear about this, and it's so sad, you know? Apparently there is a big festival that they do at Cranberry Lane every year, and that's why Dawn returned, was to put this on, to help Gabe out. But Gabe assumed that she'd be too busy to do it, so he took on all the responsibility, and Dawn assumed Gabe didn't want to do it, so she took on all the responsibility, and looks like they gotta work together.
Oh no.
And there's not, like, there's a little bit of, like, contention, but not too much.
They're a little awkward together.
Yeah, they're a little bit, they're a little awkward. They talk over each other a lot, but there's no, like...
Well, what I got from their little relationship, though, is, like, she agreed that we both agreed that we should get space, and he's just like, I can't wait to talk to you, which means that she wanted space. And he's just like, eh.
Yeah, right?
Okay, bye.
Bye. So Dawn goes to decorate one of the trees in the place, and all the ornaments they use were broken.
Like super broke.
This is a metaphor. As Matthew Buck used to say, symbolism!
Yeah, but you can't just overnight FedEx a new relationship, so...
Yeah, exactly. So Dawn talks to the TV host from earlier on the phone, and apparently her little spot on her show did really big. So they want to send a camera crew over to shoot more stuff for the show.
It's a small camera crew. It's like 2 people.
It's 2 people, yeah. Which we see for about 5 minutes, and then never again. Thanks for coming.
That's because they have jobs being actual camera crew.
Yeah. And so they want to focus mostly on Dawn and Gabe's relationship because they run the farm together and they run the business together. This leads into our big issue. Because Dawn asks Gabe about it, to film a couple of TV spots, and he's like, it's awkward enough right now. Let's not bring a camera in. And she's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Also, Grandma is apparently a really great jeweler. That has nothing to do with what's going on. It's going to come in handy later.
This is true. So Gabe talks to his parents about the whole TV deal thing. And he's like, I just don't feel comfortable bringing a camera into this right now. And his parents tell him to basically suck it up and do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's Oprah. What are you going to do? Say no? It's Oprah.
Yeah, and that's basically, he's just like, it's really awkward, we're going through a tough time. And they're like, shut the fuck up and go on TV.
They were real nice about it, though. They were just like, you just gonna throw all of us under the bus? You're just gonna throw away all that publicity?
Guilt City.
It was, like, well-crafted Guilt City. Like, he didn't even realize he was being guilted into it. Like,
and then he even says, like, well, now I feel terrible. And Mom's like, good, that was the point. Man, fuck him. But Gabe goes to see Dawn at her sister's house, and he's like, we accept it. Why not? We can do it for the town. It'll be good publicity.
It'll be like an hour tops, right?
Yeah. Dawn's sister, who I never got her name. Dawn's sister asks her grandma to move in with her, and she said no. And now she wants Dawn to ask her for her. That's kind of a dick move and a little bit weird.
It's a little weird, but whatever.
That doesn't really go anywhere. Basically, we find this out later, but Dawn's parents, both of them have died. So they lead it up something like, oh, Grandma's lonely. She needs something to do. And Grandma's like, yeah, a little bit. But your sister is trying to put off, like, dating, and that's why she wants me there, which is a little bit strange. So the camera crew shows up, and it's time to be stars. Apparently they both deal with this big ass cranberry farm, I guess single-handedly,
because there's no farmhands.
There's no other farmhands. And, again, Gabe ain't no farmer. Like, he don't look like no farmer.
That's true.
Neither does Dawn. Like, if they both do this,
Well, you don't farm in the winter, right? Do you farm cranberries in the winter? It's a summer job.
I don't think so.
So, like, he's off work because it's winter.
Right.
So, we can cut him a little slack there, right? Or
a little bit.
Yeah.
But as they're shooting, they're like, oh, talk about what it's like to work here. And this forces them to, like, compliment each other. So that's kind of nice. Apparently they knew each other from kindergarten. And were high school sweethearts. And when they got engaged, it was spur of the moment. All he did was take, I shouldn't say all he did, but he got, like, a twig.
And he stuffed a cranberry.
And he put a cranberry on it. And he made it into, like, a makeshift ring. Which is cute. But, and they were like, oh, so where's the replacement ring? And they're like, we never got one.
Stuff happened.
Yeah, they're just like, we were just too busy.
Which is a running theme with these guys. Like,
yeah.
Why didn't you do X? We were just too busy.
Because everything started to kick up.
Yeah.
Dawn goes to her grandma's house and they make Christmas tree-shaped pizza.
It looks good.
Not important to the story. I just think that's cute.
Do you want me to make Christmas tree-shaped pizza?
I'm not going to say no.
Okay.
So they bring the family together for this big tree decorating. And this is where we learn that Dawn's parents have passed away. And this was their big tradition, decorating the tree. The next night, the next night, Gabe tries to, like, extend an olive branch by, like, saying, you don't have to stay at your sister's. Like, we have a big house. You can stay at the house. But before she can turn it down, Oprah shows up. So Oprah shows up out of nowhere. Like, that's just okay. And
I mean, Oprah can spawn. Like, that's just... She's been known to spawn out of nowhere. That's just Oprah's deal.
That is true. And she was like, I tried to call, and then I guess I'm just here now. And we're like, alright. Apparently her viewers loved the cranberry spots. And so she's like, hey, why don't I do my show live from here? And they were like, this is something you tell us before you show up, but also okay. And they were like, do you have a place to stay? And she was like, nope, I just showed up out of nowhere.
And all the hotels are super booked. I don't know, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and they were just like, so do you want to stay at our house? And Don is just like, what are you doing? And he's like, she's Oprah.
She's Oprah. Stop being starstruck. Oprah.
So Oprah's gonna stay at their house, which means they have to sleep in the same house now. So that's how that goes. Oprah talks about how she never sees her hometown anymore because she's so busy. Dawn can relate. Mm-hmm. That's going to be kind of a running parallel between the two. They finally go to the festival. The festival kicks off. Mm-hmm. And they talk about how pretty it looks. And it's like, oh, you guys did such a great job. Not really. It's just like a barn.
It's rustic.
There's a barn and there's some Christmas stuff around. Mm-hmm. I especially coming after like Christmas Tree Lane and Chateau Christmas, where it was just like decked out crazy. Mm-hmm.
Well, there's booths and stalls, Santa Village style, so that's nice. But as far as I can tell, it's just a small barn we tried to make look bigger than it was.
Pretty much. $75 whole went into that. And they're like, oh, Grandma, your booth is so busy. Because this is on national TV now. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, your booth is so busy. There's maybe 3 people there.
That is super busy for a booth, yeah.
They imply that's just like, there's so many people. You can't see them, though. But, yeah, so that's just like... The limitations start to rear their head. Mm-hmm. So Dawn actually had to sleep in the house that night, but she took the bed. And Gabe took the pull-out couch. Mm-hmm. Throughout the movie, they've been leading up to this thing like Gabe is trying to tell Dawn something. Yeah. Or not trying to, but he needs to. And he just hasn't yet. I thought it was like he bought a ring and wants to propose to her again. No, that's not what it is. So they do this big, like, oh, it's time for the tree lighting. And they cut to the crowd. Yeah. And they cut to this little girl during the countdown who does not want to be here. Like...
Was it the same little girl? The little blonde girl?
No, it was the little black-haired girl.
Oh.
But yeah. There's also a lot of long, wistful shots of these two staring at each other. Like, as their back is turned. Mm-hmm. Mostly with Gabe, and he's just like, oh, my sadness.
He's a sad boy.
He is a sad boy.
Because she wants big, bright, beautiful things, and he wants to be a farmer.
Pretty much. She wants to be this big, beauty guru, mm-hmm. and he's just like, I'm happy being a farmer. Which is the exact same relationship dichotomy from... Chateau Christmas.
Yeah. So I guess this little girl just invites this dichotomy.
I guess, eh? Well, we're noticing already a lot of repetition in the movies.
Well, they're made for $75. What do you expect?
Yeah, I guess, eh? So they do this big tree lighting and they have a big countdown. Mm-hmm. And then they plug in the tree and it lights up. But they do it in the middle of the day.
In a barn.
So it's like bright light outside. Mm-hmm. And there's just like... They light up the tree, and you're like, come on, now. You do this at night, so the lights really pop.
Yeah.
What are you guys, new?
Oprah gets to light the tree because she's Oprah?
Yeah, Oprah shows up, obviously, so she's just like, you want to do... This is your thing now.
Do you want to be the master of ceremonies and all things? And she's like, yeah.
Absolutely, I do. Thank you for asking.
And so to cover the fact that they don't have any ornaments, they're like, everyone's making their own this year. Yay! It's kind of like how a friend of mine had ice cream for dinner when she had kids, just to cover up the fact that she didn't have enough for actual dinner.
Hey, it worked. Yeah, don't light your tree in the day. Especially for the big, tree lighting.
Well, if it's inside, does it really matter?
It wasn't inside, though. It was
in the barn.
It was in the barn, but there's no wall to the barn.
There are walls to the barn.
Yeah, there was 3 walls. It was bright daylight. Come on now. So apparently the thing that Gabe wanted to tell Dawn was the fact that there is 100 acres next to the farm that went up for sale.
Mm-hmm.
And he put in a bid, without her knowledge, to expand the farm.
Because he's a farmer.
Because he's a farmer and he wants to farm. And she's like, well, expanding the farm is going to be like a ton more work. How are you going to run the farm and also the lifestyle blog? And he's just like, And she goes, oh. He fully intends on leaving that part of the company.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And just going and farming.
Yeah.
It looks like he's doing pretty alright, though. When Oprah was being pretty intrusive in their lives, he was, like, making cranberry syrup, which sounds delicious.
It does.
And he was, like, making jams and juices and whatever. Like, food is way more profitable than lifestyle blogs.
Yeah. He must really love cranberries. We have a patented Hallmark quick scene, which boils down to his dad telling him to go talk to her about it.
Do the thing!
Again, they're these quick, like, 15, 30-second scenes where they're just like, I'm doing thing, go do the thing. Away! Thank you.
Thing!
But before they can talk, Oprah Lady shows up and tells them that their new segment is a hit, and she wants to shoot her live Christmas special at their house. And they're just like, cool, I guess you're already here, why not? And then they're like, we should talk. And they're like, okay. And then Dawn's sister shows up. And they're just like, we're baking cookies. And they're like, okay, why not?
I would like to point out before that she has a cappuccino with that they made for her with a Christmas tree on the top made of cocoa. Mm-hmm. And I want that. Like, who has time for that? I don't know. It's not me, but I want it.
I feel you. So this is where I get confused as to what Cranberry Lane is. Is it the name of the lifestyle blog? Is it the name of the farm? It's the name of both. So that kind of gets like...
I think it's the name of both of them, but it has two sections. The farming section and whatever the heck Dawn does.
The lifestyle section.
And Dawn is all about bright, glittery lifestyle, Gwyneth Paltrow nonsense. Mm-hmm. And then he's just like, juice?
Yeah, basically. So they come and make cookies. There's a bit of a funny line where they're just like, oh, we need somebody to taste it. And Dawn goes, oh, Uncle Gabe is a professional taster. And he goes, I was in the Olympics. And I think that's basically it. That's the only funny line in the...
I like the one where when we introduced Grandma, that Grandma was a professional jeweler. She's just like, oh, these are so good. I know, people keep telling me about it. I never get tired of hearing it. Say more. Yeah. They're so good.
So they finally get to talk about him leaving the company. And Gabe is basically like, he didn't like how everything became about marketing and meetings and, this kind of thing.
He's not a corporate dude.
He's not a corporate dude. And Dawn's like, I don't like it either, but, what are you going to do? This is what we needed. And Dawn's like, Gabe's like, the problem is, it became more about the brand, expanding the brand, than it did about, like, farming and just spending time together.
Because they had this whole deal where they were going to sit on the porch and they were going to hold hands and drink cocoa.
Yeah.
And honestly, this can be easily solved by Dawn just, like, letting go and shelling this out to other people.
I will say that this conversation is very mature. They talk about each other's feelings, how they relate to each other, what they want from this particular relationship. Like, it's, I will say, this is the most realistic couple we've had in these last 6 movies. That being said, it's boring.
Because life is boring.
Because life is boring. But, like, it's a very realistic, mature conversation.
Yeah. He wants a farm. She wants New York, I guess.
Basically.
And they're just like, do we even want anything mutually?
Yeah.
Like, is there any mutuality between us?
So Gabe and Dawn start, like, clearing brush together next to a fire. Mm-hmm. And Dawn is like, well, you should have told me you were doing this whole expansion thing, but, like, I think you should do it. Like, I think it's a good idea. And she starts giving him, like, a ton of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
And they all sound great. Like, it's like dining bogside with local chefs.
Yeah.
And selling, like, cranberry jam. Shit, I want to go to half of her ideas.
Yeah, and then she's like, yeah, you can start doing, like, cranberry wine taste tests, and you can start doing this, and you can start doing this, and we can do this, and we can do this.
And a gift shop.
And Gabe was like, oh, you went from you to we, huh? So they connect by just tossing ideas around for each other. And that's a nice little moment. And Gabe is like, well, you should get back to the festival because you got, like, lifestyle blog stuff to do. And she goes, nah, I'm good here. Wouldn't it be fun if we just, like, stayed in and watched Christmas movies together under a blanket? He's like, are you gonna knock off work? And she's like, absolutely. And they're actually, I lied, this is probably the best line. She goes, do you want to stay in and watch Christmas movies? He's like, absolutely. Wait, are we gonna watch that Christmas movie we've seen 100 times about the princess? And she goes, no, of course not. I'm over it. We're gonna watch the sequel. She's a queen now.
Which is a very realistic thing to say, because I know I would say it.
I was gonna say, I think I know the movie they're talking about too.
What movie are they talking about?
Like A Prince for Christmas. Oh no, The Princess Switch on Netflix.
Is it? Is
I
that
think.
what that is? Ah.
Anyway, Oprah talks about how, I'm gonna keep calling her Oprah. That's not her name, but
She's not Oprah. Just
Yeah.
like the last guy was not the King of England or whatever.
yeah, you're right. Oprah talks about how not only is she at the festival, like, for the gimmick, but she's here mostly for Dawn, because she's been following her career for quite a while, and she really likes her. And this lady who's not Oprah has her own network. And she's like, hey, we have some programming space. We want to give you and Gabe your own show.
Which is, like, the dream offer, really.
Yeah. And she was like, you get your own show. We call it DIY with Dawn and Gabe. And you can do this whole, like, it's your kind of thing. It's basically your blog come to life.
Which would be neat.
Which is kind of a good idea, but Dawn doesn't want to tell Gabe because she feels it would complicate an already complicated situation, because they already have this bid in to expand the farm, and you can't do both.
And not to mention, they would have to put on the happy couple charade on TV.
On TV, yeah. Plus, she's not sure she wants to take it right away.
Turns out she doesn't want to move to New York and shoot a TV show. Or maybe she does. She's not sure.
Gabe's parents flat out tell him that they wanted him to go on this Oprah show because it would get him back together with his wife.
Yeah.
Get your fucking nose out my business.
It's his parents, though. Our parents...
I don't care.
Think about our parents. Our parents love getting their nose in our business.
I know, but still.
I think that's just a parental thing.
I think everybody does, yeah.
Not to mention, what else are they going to talk about? Her sister and the fact that she's not dating? That's boring.
Good point. Dawn admits to Oprah that the show has put a strain on her relationship, and Oprah talks about how it cost her a marriage. She was engaged, and they kept putting off the wedding because she was so busy, and her husband was basically like, if you don't have time to get married, you don't have time for a marriage.
Which is a valid point.
And so Oprah's basically like, I feel, I'm happy and I'm thankful for the fame and the fortune and the good luck I've had, but sometimes I wonder what I miss, especially being in this kind of town where everybody's family.
Also, she keeps saying that next year she buys presents, like a lot of presents, so that way she can give them to her family and so spend the Christmas with her family, and then she's just like, oh, I guess I have to go do this thing, and then she just mails them anyway.
Yeah.
And so she's like, oh, I'll do it next year. But she's been saying it for years,
But
right?
next year never comes.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Point is, she needs to get her house in order on that whole thing.
So we have a getting together montage of having fun at the festival, where they take a picture together in a sleigh, and
It was very cute.
that night he sets up like a fire so they can roast marshmallows together.
What did you think about the hula hoop thing where they landed on the...
That was fun. They had like a ring toss where you toss a ring up onto reindeer antlers. that's cute.
Yeah.
This seems like a fun little thing to go to if you're in this kind of small town.
Yeah. It seems like a fun little small town festival, right? So
I think so too.
there's booths, there's games, that sort of thing. There's frozen hot chocolate that doesn't suck. Looking at you, Auntie Anne.
Yeah. That was so disappointing.
I know. I'm sorry that we had to sit through that. It was weirdly greasy. I don't think Auntie Anne's doing it this year. So
last Christmas,
I gave you my heart.
I gave you my heart.
And the
very next day, we got a frozen hot chocolate at Auntie Anne's at the mall. Do you guys remember malls? Way back when we could go outside, there were these places with like a lot of stores under one building.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Why would anyone do that?
I know, it's silly. And there's this place called Auntie Anne's, and they were doing a Hershey's frozen hot chocolate.
And this might be Hershey's fault. This might not be on Auntie Anne.
And if you don't think I was all about that, because I love hot chocolate and I love frozen things, so we had it. We split one, I think.
Yeah, we did not finish it.
We did not finish it because it tasted like a chocolate plastic bag.
Which is probably Hershey's fault.
Yeah. So, hopefully this one, whatever one they're talking about in the movie, is good, because woof.
So, I hope if Auntie Anne's bringing it back, don't use Hershey. Use, like, Ghirardelli or something. Like,
I think Lindor would be really good.
Lindor, you think?
Lindor hot chocolate?
Oh, yeah. What's the name of that place in Hawaii that was a chocolate shop where we're just like, you do that? It wasn't Lindt. It wasn't Ghirardelli either.
It wasn't Ghirardelli. It wasn't... There was a bakery called Brugge.
It wasn't Moonstruck.
We went there a couple times.
Point is, there was that chocolate shop that also did things. It was high quality chocolate. I'm sure I'll remember it in the middle of the night. Or the middle of this conversation. We'll find out.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, so they're outside, they're roasting marshmallows, and Gabe tells Dawn that his offer was accepted. Mm-hmm. They're selling him the acres. Dawn does not tell Gabe that they have a TV show.
Or maybe have a TV show. Who knows?
And Dawn is like, Gabe needs to take it. And he wonders, like, what does that mean for us? Because that means I'm going to be here. This is my thing. Mm-hmm. And if you're out and about all the time, like, we're still losing connection to one another. But they still have, like, the need to be together. So we have them kiss for the first time in the snow, which is kind of nice.
It was cute.
This is the first time we've had a couple kiss before the end of the film.
Yeah. Well, they're already married, right? They've hit the end goal for all the other couples.
That's true. Dawn worries that Gabe is going to give up the expansion for the television show because his whole thing has been having to sacrifice what he wants for her.
Which is not great for a marriage.
And yeah, she just realizes, hey, that's been happening a lot and I look like a dick.
And they've been together for years, right?
10 years, I believe.
Oh, boy.
They've been engaged or married. Mm-hmm. And Oprah has that moment where she talks about how thankful she is for her fortune, and how important family is to her, but she can't see it anymore because she basically gave it up. Some solid acting from lady who plays Oprah. Dawn decides that she's going to turn down the show in favor of spending more time with Gabe and her family. But Gabe, she was going to turn down the show without consulting him at all. And Gabe kind of finds out about it through secondhand means. Mm-hmm. And he's like, hey, what the hell? And Gabe was like, we'll find a way to make it work. I don't know, we'll figure it out. And Dawn says, we can't figure out how to make that work. We can't figure out how to make this work. If we're going to add a television show and an expansion to the farm, it's just going to make things harder because I'm always going to be in New York. You're always going to be here. We can't. It's just going to add an extra stress. And then Gabe says, well, maybe this is a sign that we're just not supposed to work anymore. We want different things. Our paths don't converge anymore. Which is a real, like...
It's a real problem.
A real problem. And so they kind of have this little fight within earshot of Oprah.
Within earshot of everyone. It's a small barn.
Yeah. And then the next day, Oprah's like, hey, if this thing with Dawn doesn't work out, we can just give you the show. We'll make it a solo show and hire you a co-host. Like, it's not a big deal. But the big problem is that that would be essentially giving up on her and Gabe. Grandma gives out some sage advice, blah, 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 marriage, blah, 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 sacrifice, blah, 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 marriage is hard, blah, blah, Bible, Jesus, magic.
Well, basically what Grandma's trying to say is, oh, you think marriage is easy?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
You think your marriage is hard? We had to have a marriage uphill in the snow both ways.
Chased by wolves.
Well, if your marriage is so great, how come your husband's dead?
Jeez.
But no, it's just like...
No, but Grandma's just trying to get it into her skull. Like, oh, you think marriage is supposed to make your life easier?
Yeah, that's true.
No! Marriage is hard work. You have to communicate and be there for each other. It's a lot of give and take. And sometimes you take more than you give, but then you give more than you take. It's a whole thing.
It's a thing. So Grandma gives Gabe a gift to give to Dawn.
Apparently she's been working on this for a while.
Yeah. And then so the next day they have this big family dinner. And Dawn just kind of assumes Gabe isn't going to be there.
Yeah.
And so like his parents show up. Just like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, Gabe isn't going to be here. And he's like, we don't care. We brought pie. All right, what up? And then, of course, Gabe is literally right behind them.
Yeah, he just, like, straight up comes out of the shadows and was like, it's me, Gabe.
Yeah. Hello. It's me, your husband, Gabe. And so he's like, would you come out here? We got to talk. And he apologizes for making it seem like he was looking for a way out. And for not telling her about the expansion. And then she apologizes for putting the brand over their relationship.
Yeah, it's a very mature thing to do.
Again, it's a very mature relationship between these two. They have the problem, they talk about it, they work it out.
And they're not afraid to say sorry. So,
yeah, that's the other thing. So that's the little thing. Gabe opens up the gift, and it's a brand new engagement ring, or wedding ring, I suppose. It's got the silver band, and it's got a little red jewel on top to look like a cranberry.
It's very cute.
Aw. And he kind of, he gets down on one knee, and he goes, Dawn, will you stay married to me? Or he goes, will you keep being married to me? And then Dawn gets down on her knees, too, to, like, match his eyesight. I thought that was a cute little moment.
Yeah, I thought that was nice.
And so she says yes, obviously. And so the movie ends with them, throughout this whole thing, they were talking about their main goal is to remain together and be an old couple in rocking chairs on the porch looking at the cranberry bogs. And so the end of the movie ends with them in rocking chairs on the porch. They're young, though, still. And
young mistletoe over the cranberries in the porch. It was very cute.
And Gabe is like, hey, I talked to Oprah, and we renegotiated the show. We're going to do a reality show, basically.
Yeah.
About the expansion of the farm and just, like, our lives together over here. So we get basically the best of both worlds. So they get the show, they get the farm expansion. I noticed that they're awful comfortable for being outside on Christmas Eve in the middle of December. They have just a very light blanket.
Because it's secretly June.
Yeah, they don't look cold at all.
They're actually sweating.
Yeah, right? So, the farm gets their expansion. They get their own show. Their marriage is intact. Love has been renewed. Curtain down. There is not a lot to talk about with this movie.
Yeah.
Usually these kind of explanations go on for about an hour and a half. But, a lot of this movie was just, I don't know, stuff happening.
A lot, well, they didn't think it through. Oh, I've offered you this show. Oh, clearly it's a take it or leave it deal. No, it's Oprah.
No, it's Oprah. You can renegotiate.
He clearly does it at the end. Why didn't you think... You seem to be the brains of the operation. Why didn't you think, oh, why can't I just shoot the show in front of the house? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It will be cute. I'll do it in the barn.
So, for as much communicating as they do eventually. Again, this is one of those movies that could have been solved, 10, 15 minutes if they just sat down and talked to each other, goddammit. But then again, the politics of being in that particular relationship are a little bit more complicated than that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is like the most middle of the road movie.
Is it more middle of the road than Jingle Bell Bride?
I think so. This is probably a 5.
You think so? This is the new 5?
This is, yeah.
Then where does it shift Jingle Bell Bride? Because that's different than this one.
I would say Jingle Bell Bride probably goes down to a 4.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think this is worse than that?
Jingle Bell Bride is worse than this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't think?
No.
We can tie them if they'd both be 5s.
I guess, but I feel like Jingle Bell Bride, it had purpose.
Really? So you like Jingle Bell Bride more than this one?
I guess, kind of, sort of, maybe. It was kind of funny,
Yeah, it had more moments than that one than this.
Because we could talk about how the absolute convoluted plot that is Jingle Bell Bride.
That's
where it's
true.
just like, I'm going to Alaska instead of just having them FedEx me the thing. And you're like, okay. And now I'm stuck in Alaska because I'm a dummy. And I'm like...
Random bullshit, go!
And then I guess the bride is just chill with the fact that her wedding planner's in Alaska.
You know what? Maybe just because it was more madcap. You're right. This might be the new worst of the bunch.
I think so, because at least with Jingle Bell Bride, we can talk about how how much we had to stretch to get that plot to work.
And again, this movie's not bad. It's just bland.
That's because I feel like it was supposed to be an episode of television.
It's just like...
It's okay.
It was a good idea. It was a good plot, but I think it was squandered.
Where did they go wrong, QT?
I felt if we could have spent more time on their relationship, what brought us to this point. They're losing their connection with each other. They don't really fight all that much. There's a little bit of awkwardness at the beginning, but not enough to where you're just like, these two are gonna break up.
Well, they don't want to go too ham on it, because if you think they're going to break up, you're not going to believe the fact that they got back together, right?
Well, yes and no. But the problem is we needed to solve this plot in 4 days. Because all of these movies are just it's 4 days till Christmas, it's 6 days till Christmas.
Yeah.
That's not enough time.
Well, they just need to spend 4 days with each other to realize how much they care about each other.
Yeah, I gotta say. But yeah, so I don't know. It could have spent a little bit more time kind of fleshing out its premise.
Did we ever solve the sister dating problem?
Kind of.
Grandma moves in with sister.
Yeah, and she's just like, I think she needs somebody to rely on, somebody to be there for her, and I'll be that. Mm-hmm. And then that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And I'll be
We don't even know what caused her to give up dating.
Well,
she's got a kid, so obviously she had a husband or at least a boyfriend at some point.
Yeah. And then not, so that must suck.
Yeah, which, kind of blows. But not enough to make a whole plot about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think there's just not a lot to talk about on this one, eh?
No. Because again, Jingle Bell Bride, we can sit here and talk about how we only had $20 for the Crazy Rich Asian wedding scene.
Yeah.
And we used most of it on the production team.
But yeah, so at the end of the day, like I said, it's not bad. It's just it's 2 hours of your life. Well, an hour and a half without commercials.
Yeah. Commercial.
It's something to have on the background of a Christmas party you're having. If you need something on the TV and you have left the Hallmark channel on and you're half falling asleep and you got a bowl of chips next to you and you're just guess I'll watch this.
If the setup's already there.
And I think honestly that's we haven't had an outright bad movie yet.
That's true. We've had some pretty convoluted plots.
Yeah, but those can be kind of fun. But we haven't had one where I'm just this is awful. This is bullshit.
We might need to change the name of the podcast if we don't get a bad movie soon. These aren't bad movies.
You know what? I tweeted Hallmark. Uh-huh. And I was like, hey, we're doing a whole podcast about watching all the Hallmark Christmas movies. What do you think? And then I realized the show's called Binging with Badness. And I'm like, no, wait, we're not necessarily, it's bad, but we just,
Did you get anything back?
I did not. So Hallmark, if you're watching, sorry. But yeah, so that's, I don't know, that's this one. But this is 6 now?
Is it?
Yeah, this is our 6th movie.
Okay, yeah.
So we're down to, we got 34 left. That's still so many.
There's Holly and Ivy coming up.
Yeah, so I know I said this yesterday, but I think tomorrow we're going to do the 12 dates of Christmas.
Yeah.
And then Holly and Ivy on Tuesday.
Did 12 Days of Christmas come out today, or is it coming out? Did it come out
12
yesterday?
Dates comes out tonight.
Tonight. Okay.
It's Sunday, November 1st. So I think it comes out tonight, and then so does Holly and Ivy.
I don't want to watch Holly and Ivy.
Oh, we gotta, though.
I know, we made a commitment.
It might be good.
It's got a cancer mom.
Yeah, it's probably not.
It might be a good movie individual of itself, but I'm not a fan of, I'm dying, let's celebrate
Let's celebrate Christmas. It has to be better than Christmas Shoes.
Huh?
Yeah, you guys remember Christmas Shoes?
Okay, so
worst Christmas song ever.
I've never actually seen it, but I've heard the
I've heard the shoes.
I've heard the shoes, and by that I mean I've heard the song.
Yeah.
And like, how bad could the movie have possibly been?
I'm sure we'll watch it at some point.
I'm sure next Christmas will be a hoot.
Yeah, right? But yeah, I think until then, that's really all I gotta say on this one.
I mean, like, it's okay. Like, the set design all takes place in a barn.
Yeah.
In a really nice house. In the living room of a really nice house.
Well, we don't really see much of this really nice house.
The Christmas tree game is lacking.
Yeah, the Christmas decorations in general is lacking.
I mean, like, it's a well-decorated house, don't get me wrong. But, like, they only have, like, one Christmas tree. After the ambush of one royal holiday and everybody else, where they had, like, 30 in every scene.
And
like,
this is the first movie where we don't get the Merry Christmas kiss.
That's true. Merry Christmas, lead.
Merry Christmas, other lead. Mwah. This is the first one, so we are 5 for 6.
I thought that's just a standard response.
Me too.
For Hallmark.
I thought you guys had a template.
Yeah.
Like a Microsoft Word template.
that generates these
things. And then you just, like, mix and match. But yeah, I think...
What's the chances that they blew their line and they're like, we don't want to keep filming this thing.
So we gotta go home yesterday. So we're done now.
We're done now. Also, they didn't say every time I look at my niece, she's a foot taller.
That's true. Maybe that's just the 2 we saw, and then it's not gonna come back. You never know, though. There is another niece.
There's always another niece.
Holly and Ivy is all about nieces and nephews, too.
I'm sure every time she comes and sees them, they're a foot taller.
Yeah, you know what? So, basically, we're looking for 12 Dates of Christmas to be the interesting one.
Come on, Madalena.
Come on, boys. But yeah, so I guess we will see you guys tomorrow with the brand new movie review. Only here. What's up, gamers? But yeah, should they watch this one, kids?
Yeah, it's not bad.
I'ma say no. There's better of them. Watch One Royal Christmas again.
Or Chateau Christmas. That one was also very good.
You can skip this one.
Yeah, you could skip it if you want.
You could skip this one hardcore.
You could, and you wouldn't be really missing much in the grand. It's a very mature film, but real life is boring.
Yeah.
So, like, there's no drama to it, which is the point. But, like, also, like, what are you guys really solving here? Like,
yeah, really, that's...
You don't see each other very much, and that puts strain on relationship, and turns out 4 days together solves
everything.
So, like, clearly...
Thanks for coming.
Just spend more time with each other, and why didn't you think about shooting the show at the damn farm?
That's it, that's the movie.
And he's too cute to be a farmer, huh?
Yes, absolutely. Ben Ayers, if you're watching. You cute.
Shing!
I hit on a lot of guys on this podcast. I hope this doesn't awaken anyone. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay, bye.
Bye. We love you.
Bye-bye. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.